In this video, we will detail the costs that, if not monitored, can lead to poverty throughout your life. Take advantage of these 12 tips provided by Robert Kiyosaki and watch the video until the end. Let's get started. The secret to financial success lies in focusing on creating multiple streams of income. We're not talking about just one, but multiple sources of income. By educating ourselves financially, we develop an entrepreneurial mindset and generate business ideas to earn revenue. In the beginning, it's crucial to pay attention to spending and the destination of our money. Often, our financial mindset is shaped by our past. In 99% of cases, our financial journey starts with a job and dependence on a salary. However, if we are financially savvy enough, that job and salary, which for many is a curse, when managed properly, can turn into capital. You can use this capital as a starting point to begin making profits, conducting business and investing. The suggestions we share in this video to reduce expenses could be the beginning of a world full of endless opportunities for you. All you need to do is learn how to manage your money. These are just a few ideas, but you should adapt them to your own reality and complement them with your own ideas to make them even more effective. Have you ever imagined uncovering the secrets of the greatest minds in the world with no effort? It might seem incredible, but it's now a reality with our kit of 100 summarized books, including audiobooks and PDFs of the most valuable parts. Learning has become more accessible than ever. Don't miss this chance. Get your kit by clicking the first link in the description. Many people make the mistake of buying things because of promotions, mistakenly believing they are saving money. However, in reality, in a promotion, money just changes hands and ownership. Being rich or poor depends on the direction the money takes. If most of the time money is entering your account, then you are definitely on the path to financial freedom. There is a common saying among people with fewer resources: if you never go into debt, you will never achieve anything. We are certain that few expressions cause as much misery and financial bondage as this one. The reason this saying is so harmful is as follows. When you buy something on credit, you pay compound interest. This compound interest benefits the recipient and impoverishes the payer. For the payer, compound interest represents 2 or 3 times the original purchase value, while for the recipient it represents a profit 2 or 3 times the original selling price. Who pays and who charges compound interest determines who becomes poorer and who becomes richer. Acquiring electronic devices that will not be used is another frequent mistake. These gadgets are designed to make our lives easier and better, but a person who does not manage their money well may end up buying an unnecessary electronic device that will likely just gather dust at home. Similarly, buying products solely for the brand is inadvisable. Many brands do not add value or quality to your life. They merely increase the price because they are considered fashionable. Instead, buy what you truly need, what is useful to you, or what provides comfort, avoiding purchases just because of the brand. Spending money on cigarettes not only harms health, but also negatively affects finances. Besides the health damage, cigarettes are expensive. Just do a calculation with your country's currency. The monthly, annual, and multi-decade costs reveal the significant impact of this addiction on personal finances. Visiting the mall can be a common pastime for many people, especially on payday. However, this can result in wasting time that could be better spent on reading, education, training, and growth. Moreover, frequenting the mall can lead to impulsive purchases and credit use, further compromising financial situations. Avoiding impulsive purchases is essential. Buying something without reflection can lead to unnecessary expenses and harm your finances in the long run. Therefore, it is crucial to resist the temptation of impulsive buying and make financially conscious decisions. In summary, by adopting a mindful approach to spending and money, you will be on the path to building a solid financial future and avoiding traps that could lead to poverty. Impulsive buying refers to acquiring something unnecessary, often just to experience the satisfaction of having something new. It is possible to feel important through these impulsive purchases, but this contributes to the disparity between the rich and the poor. Rich people accumulate more wealth by selling, while poor people, by buying excessively, end up becoming even poorer. One example illustrating this difference is the presence of a large television. In the home of a low-income person, it is common to find a television that is disproportionately large compared to their financial situation. On the other hand, in the home of a wealthy person, one might find a considerably larger library, proportional to their earnings. The television often becomes the primary educational tool for the poor and middle class, who are exposed to soap operas, reality shows, football, beauty contests, and commercials, and then wonder why they have such low incomes. Buying smartphones on credit is another practice that can harm finances. Although these devices offer numerous applications and tools, many people end up using them only for messaging on WhatsApp, social media, and taking photos. Seeing someone with a minimum wage job burdened by debt from purchasing a smartphone that is more expensive than they can afford is a painful situation. Going to nightclubs can be costly, especially considering that alcohol usually costs more than food. While having fun is important, a lack of control over nightlife expenses can hinder the achievement of financial goals. Buying a new car is considered a luxury unless it is used to generate income. New cars quickly lose their value, depreciating about 25% once they leave the dealership and approximately 45% within the first 3 months. Eating out is discouraged, especially for the indebted middle class, which often spends large amounts on meals outside the home. This practice can represent an escape from building wealth. The result is that the rich incur debt to acquire assets, while the middle class goes into debt to obtain liabilities and maintain an appearance of wealth. Meanwhile, the poor live to buy small items on sale. The focus of the mind determines the results. Smart spending is crucial to achieving wealth and financial prosperity. By focusing on growth, reducing expenses, and simultaneously increasing savings capacity, it is possible to start building wealth. Financial education is essential to this process. Discipline in spending allows one to seize opportunities, especially for those who can identify them. Having an emergency fund is crucial, and it all starts with consciously reducing expenses. Analyze each of the expenditures we have just mentioned, assess whether they are truly necessary in your daily life, question whether they are worth it, and reflect on whether these expenditures are important and decisive for your life. If they are not necessary, you are likely to keep them just to create an image or to please others, and therefore they don't contribute anything. Most expenses, especially those mentioned earlier, are completely unnecessary and can be considered as small but frequent and repetitive expenses that cause significant harm to our wallet and compromise our financial future. Remember that a boat does not sink because it breaks in half. It sinks due to a single hole through which water starts to enter drop by drop. Similarly, this is how our personal finances can sink if we don't have the financial capacity to seize opportunities. There is no point in educating ourselves financially to invest and negotiate if all our personal finances are leaking through various holes and money is slipping through our fingers. It is essential to learn to control our spending. I'm not suggesting that you focus solely on expenses all at once. It's simply necessary to manage those mentioned earlier as well as those that have gotten out of control. Once you take control, direct all your focus, energy, imagination, and intelligence into building revenue, increasing your earnings, capitalizing on your talent, and improving your financial intelligence. The most crucial thing is to put your revenue on autopilot, allowing you to generate consistent profits. Focus all your energy on this project, but be alert if you feel there are holes in your boat, as the money you earn on one side might be slipping out the other. Control your spending and focus on generating revenue. After absorbing this knowledge, you will achieve all your financial goals. The reason I needed to learn how to make money was because I had no money. If you read Rich Dad, Poor Dad, my rich dad always said, "Never say I can't afford it." It was my rich dad and many of my subsequent mentors who taught me that lazy people always say, "I can't afford it." Listen carefully to learn how to make money without an initial investment. Throughout my life, I have earned hundreds of millions of dollars, and that's because I had no money when I was young, which led me to learn how to generate capital. And it is really quite simple. You need to find an asset that is worth more than you. You cannot invest in yourself, as that would be considered slavery. So, what I did, and talk about in my book, was start looking for small real estate properties. I found an opportunity like that one-bedroom, one-bathroom condo in Maui, and figured out a way to persuade people to lend me money. All I needed to do was ensure that I would repay the money. So my first venture was an unlimited return investment. I didn't use any of my own capital. It was 100% debt financed. It was an $18,000 apartment. These properties are no longer available at that price, but the economy was bad, so I acquired the apartment for $18,000. I could have used my own money, as I had it, but that would have been too easy. Only audacious people use their own money, and that really tricked a lot of people. They'd say, "You call me audacious," and I'd reply, "That's it. You're the kind of person who says you can't afford it, who can't achieve it." That's the problem. It's up here, in the mind, between those two ears. I can't do it. Most of my family told me, "You can't afford it." My father taught me to say that. My mother taught me to say that. And my rich father never told me that. If you work for a company, how much of my money is invested in that company? You want to acquire real money. Gold and silver are divine money. What I mean by divine money is that gold and silver were here when the earth was formed. I believe gold's atomic number is 79 and silver's is 47. I believe gold and silver will be here after the cockroaches, and that silver and gold will remain long after the dollar, the Canadian dollar, and everything else. I've been acquiring gold and silver whenever I could since my youth. Now the problem is storage. I don't keep anything in banks. You know, I had to transport my gold and silver to safe countries. The biggest mistake was that I was doing very well. Then, in 1973, I made my first deal, which was an $18,000 investment. It was $800 below, with a $5 per month down payment. It was unlimited, so I kept doing that and acquired many properties. Then I decided to go in another direction, and my first venture was a nylon and Velcro card business. They weren't the cards everyone knows today, but back then, in 1974 or 1975, people didn't know what these cards were. So we were going bankrupt very quickly. We bought 100 of these cards from Korea and sent them to our warehouse in Long Island. We were borrowing money from our investors and then put in about 100,000 Ries to start this small and ridiculous venture with the cards. We were in serious trouble. I owed my father about 200 Ries. My father, who was well off, was mocking me, watching us crash so quickly because we couldn't sell the cards. 100,000 of them were stored in a warehouse in Long Island, and no one wanted to buy them. Then, the interesting thing about ignorance is that it makes us more insightful. We started reflecting on what was happening, and I realized that what was going on in the world at that time was that all the baby boomers were becoming sedentary. They needed to start running, and running was becoming popular. You know, no one ran before, and now all these guys were running. Then we were reading the newspaper, sitting at a banquet, going bankrupt. We saw in the newspaper that a runner went to Golden Gate Park in San Francisco. He was running in the park and had no place to leave his car key. So what did he do? He put it in front of his car and went running in the park. However, when he returned to the car, it was gone. So the guy exclaimed, "My car was stolen." And the question was in the headline of the newspaper article, "What does a runner do with his key?" We said, here's a problem. So I designed the shoe pocket. You can see this image right here. It's from a magazine, a young and attractive model with nothing but a shoe pocket. But anyway, we were going bankrupt very quickly. However, when the Playboy water image was released, suddenly things changed. Everyone started pulling out their money, and our products started selling. Our wallets, our shoe pockets. The investors were satisfied and sales soared. So we went from reckless risks to smart success. The problem was how to finance our inventory because the demand was global and we couldn't keep up. So I asked for another 100,000 Ries and went to my friend Stanley, my financial advisor, and said to him, "Stanley, this 100,000 Ries will solve our inventory problem." And he replied, yes, it will." So I handed the check to Stanley. We had no signed documents, just a verbal agreement that I owed the money. That was one of my first 6 or 7 figure mistakes. This is referred to as a grain box. There are 500 of these small tubes like this one, and 500 coins here, which are more valuable. Gold is more precious than anything. The reason I mention this is that, for your generation, this might be the greatest opportunity you will ever find. I'm not benefiting from this, but if you look at what happened with the fake central bank, the role of the central bank, the Fed, the Bank of Japan, or the European Central Bank, they issue fake money. The role of central banks like the Fed is to protect the banks, not you. In my opinion, they are a criminal operation. You'll find this in most of my discussions about the Fed, so I suggest you acquire these things. Don't spend government money because they are extremely corrupt. As you know, spend God's money. What is happening to most people today is that they follow the old motto of going to school. But what do they learn about finance in school? Nothing. They get a job while jobs are disappearing, not just with artificial intelligence and the arrival of 5G, but also with autonomous vehicles. So why go to school to get a job and then work hard for money and pay taxes? Taxes will keep increasing. You have to do it. Someone will have to bear that huge mountain of debt accumulating around the world, and the only way to pay off the debt is through taxes. And then they tell you to get rid of debt. Oh God, debt is money, please understand. In 1971, when Nixon took the dollar off the gold standard, money turned into debt. And the rich know how to use debt to become rich. And that's what I do, my friend Donald Trump. I know you don't like it, but well, we use debt as money and someone else will tell you to get rid of debt. You choose. The rich use debt to get rich. And the middle class is devastated because it is in debt. This is due to a lack of financial education and ignorance about how to invest long-term in a well-diversified portfolio of stocks, bonds, mutual funds, and ETFs. The key is to invest long-term. First of all, invest in what you love. I'm passionate about business. I love stocks. I'm really a fan. I own this building and I appreciate gold and silver. So I invest in what I love. Many suggest that you should do what you love rather than invest in what you love, but I love being an entrepreneur. I love investing. It's like a Shark Tank to me. I'm constantly on the lookout for new businesses, new opportunities. It's just a game, you see? When you look at your net worth, it's like your score in the game. It's like your goal score is your net worth. But as you know, our schools don't teach us anything about net worth. This is my message to everyone, including millennials. It's all in your mind. I know most millennials want a well-paying job, want to be able to pay the rent, eat, and then dream of a spacious house, a nice car, and so on. But that's why 99% of Americans are struggling, because their minds are in the wrong place. When I asked Quim if he would take a 2-day accounting course, I wanted to see if his mind could focus on the asset column. That was the difference. And thus began the journey of investing, the journey of assets. I remember the time when, like everyone else, I was focused on the income column, getting a job, seeking salary increases. If you're a salaried worker, working more hours or increasing your hourly wage has always been the focus. Then, finally, after we actually acquired some investment properties, the light finally went on. Instead of focusing on generating income, I started focusing on acquiring assets and making those assets generate income. It was a big shift in my thinking. And once that shift happened in me, I no longer thought about the income column. Now I only think about the value of assets. That's our game called cash flow. When Kin and I met, we had nothing. It took us 10 years to go from zero to achieving financial independence. But this is the power of focusing on assets rather than liabilities. Most people are so involved in working for money, trying to pay their bills and acquiring liabilities that they believe are assets. So my first gift to Kim was to instill this idea in her mind. And today, we are financially independent. That's it. And anyone can achieve it. It's a matter of getting your mind in the right place. It was when I took my first real estate course that I became free. I recovered money and never left the assets column. We are still committed to new projects right now, focusing on assets. There is a lot of cash flow but not income, because once again, we are focusing on the asset column, not the income column. Now, back to the original question. Why did I say that only lazy people use their own money? Because lazy people always say, I can't afford it, or I can't do it. It's very easy to say that, and that's why they are poor. It's harder to earn $1 million than to simply say, I can't afford it. Well, I hope you found this video amazing and useful. Remember, if you liked this video, click like and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any of our videos. See you next time.